listen to VOA, Japanese English listening material site with transcript. A woman in a huge re-education camp in the Chinese government told something shocking about what happened to them. By uighuragency 4 months ago, the Chinese government forced women to be infertile in a large re-education camp containing political and religious prisoners. Gulbahar Jalilova, a 54-year-old former detainee who had been detained for more than a year, told French television that a doctor had repeatedly injected a drug in a re-education camp in Xinjiang, East Turkistan. I had to put my arm out of the small opening in the door. I noticed that after the injection, I had no longer menstruation. And she also told, she and the other 50 women were packed in a small cell. Recently at the Amnesty International Conference, 30-year-old Mehrigul Tursun said the same thing as being infertile without knowing. She was given medication while she was being detained in 2017, and she was sloppy, lost her memory, and depressed for about a week. A few months later, she was released after a diagnosis of mental illness and now lives in the United States. A doctor who consulted in the U.S. told her she was infertile. These two women are Uyghur Muslims, a minority targeted by the Chinese government for re-education. About 1 million Uyghurs are held in concentration camps called re-education. A Uyghur woman who was detained in a camp in the past and now lives in a Western country said she was aborted even in late pregnancy. The Population Research Institute (PRI), defending people born in forced and inhumane population control programs, accused China of large-scale forced sterilization. The current Uyghur population is less than 1% of China's total population. Limiting and controlling the natural population growth of ethnic groups of this size in all countries is the same as you completely annihilate the ethnic group and slaughter it. Therefore, the Chinese birth control policy of forced Uyghur abortion and forced sterilization is not a policy that guarantees the Uyghur population. On the contrary, it limits all political, economic and social means. By doing so, they are gradually eradicating them. The Chinese government said that those who were arrested, not charged or convicted, were at risk of becoming extremist in the future. However, the country's large-scale program has gathered surprising discoveries of international accusations, brutality and torture charges, and a black market for organ transplants from international courts. In June, a special Chinese court in London clarified that a state-approved compulsory organ removal was being conducted on a large scale, independent courts of members of the United States, Britain, Malaysia, and Iran, including experts in human rights, organ transplantation, and international relations, interviewed 50 witnesses and examined a vast amount of evidence from the past. The number of surgeries performed, an incredibly short waiting list of patients undergoing transplants, and the expansion of the facility beyond reasonable suspicion. Forced organectomy has been significant throughout China for many years. The report said it has demonstrated that it is being done on a scale. However, the Chinese government has consistently denied that it is involved in human rights violations.